So I'm pretty sure the oof meme is dead, the whole Roblox oof meme, but if it wasn't, this would be the perfect opportunity for it because WB allegedly laments that Zack Snyder's Justice League never should have happened, that they shouldn't have gone back, they shouldn't have released the Snyder Cut, because it only further entrenched the Snyderverse fan base against the leadership at the studio and DC in particular. This is actually interesting, and I wanted to talk about this for a little bit. Whether you love or hate Zack Snyder's movies and his vision and what he wanted to do, I genuinely do think that when you watch something like the 2017 Justice League release with Joss Whedon, and then you watch Zack Snyder's, there's a pretty night and day difference in terms of a story actually being told. Yes, the movie's super long, obviously, and yes, there are a lot of reports that Snyder never even wanted to do Justice League that early, that he actually wanted to build up more sequels to Man of Steel and do more in that vein before ever moving into more of this team type stuff. But we're going to get into it here today and talk about it because WB can't catch a break, but to be fair, they can't stop saying and doing stupid shit, so it's expected. Before we get into it, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. We are at 112,000 subscribers now. We're actually getting seen again. We're actually growing again a bit. It means the world to me, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. We wouldn't be here without you. Now, this was a report from Rolling Stone and a bunch of other news agencies yesterday online, where essentially the outlet also claimed that the heads of Warner Bros. Discovery have no intention of reviving the Snyderverse or partnering with Zack Snyder again in the future. Now, this is interesting to me because when you actually start looking at this, there's several different articles on this. This is going back to something Jim Lee said actually a little bit ago at San Diego Comic-Con 2022, saying that basically, I work on the projects that are in development, and so I think Zack Snyder's Justice League was Zack's vision realized, and it was a really satisfying story told, but there's no plan for additional work on that material, so I was happy to help contribute to the pitch for the other stuff, and it was kind of fun to actually see that stuff get out there, because I did that stuff years ago. I actually thought it had been erased, but they kept it in storage. So when you get more into this story, it gets more and more complicated because when you look at the actual merger of Discovery and WB, these heads of systems are changing. Walter Hamada, even people like Jim Lee. I'm sure Jim Lee will have a place at DC at the company because he does such amazing, brilliant artwork, and he's a cool guy, you know, reportedly. I've never met him, but people like him. I'm sure that he'll have a place at the company with DC and stuff like that, but it's looking more and more like figureheads like Zaslav, you know, guys like this are going to be kind of the new puppeteers of what's going on. They're going to be instating new people, kind of shifting things around and moving them and doing a lot of different stuff with it. And if that weren't complicated enough with these heads of guard changing, I guess captains of the guard, I guess that's what they're called, changing and new people moving in and taking their places and new ideas coming in, we did have this idea in the past that they were going to move past the Snyderverse, that they were going to move past it and away from it. And interestingly, once they got into the Batgirl cancellation, these stances became even more murky because there have been a lot of reports since Batgirl's cancellation that the reason for this is to get back on track with that more connected universe, not use a Flashpoint to move away from it and work out Ben Affleck's Batman, not use a Flashpoint to kind of work out Henry Cavill's Superman. Henry Cavill was actually even spotted recently at WB Studios allegedly recording a Superman scene. So there's a lot of hearsay and what ifs going on, but when we get into actual sources and things being quoted too, interestingly, from Rolling Stone, the outlet cited a source that talked to documentary filmmaker Leslie Ewerks, who reached out to Warner Bros. About using footage from Zack Snyder's Justice League for an upcoming project. According to the company, Whedon's 2017 theatrical cut is the definitive iteration and should therefore be used instead. The excerpt of this article goes on to say, technically Batgirl was part of the so-called Snyderverse, given that J.K. Simmons, who plays Commissioner Gordon, appeared in the Snyder cut of Justice League. In a telling sign of how far the studio is looking to distance itself from Snyder, a source says documentary filmmaker Leslie Ewerks recently asked to license clips from the 2021 Justice League for a film on the history of DC and was told there's actually only one Justice League, the 2017 incarnation, which is very odd to want to stand behind the thing made by Joss Whedon. I understand there's a lot of people who don't like Zack Snyder, but as far as I know, he's not like an alleged, cheater and like person who uses feminism to get ahead in his career and threatens women's careers and stuff like that. I mean, that was a lot of stuff that was reportedly going on with Joss Whedon, with a lot of evidence and reports backing it up. So when we actually get into what they're doing, it becomes very odd that not only did WB fire Johnny Depp, and then there was a court case that came out saying Johnny Depp wasn't an abuser and Amber Heard was guilty of defamation and owed him a lot of money. Then on top of that, they never got rid of Ezra Miller, and now reportedly Ezra Miller is meeting with the heads of WB and Discovery to kind of suck up to them to get The Flash still released. So they've already got those two strikes. They never got rid of Amber Heard from Aquaman, reportedly, although now we have this whole Ben Affleck connection, and we have a delay of Aquaman, basically a whole year, which is making people think that they're going to work her entirely out and work Batman into the movie to kind of retie into that Snyderverse. So you have this back and forth where technically the people still in charge of these divisions today, when I'm recording this, a lot of these people that are still technically there are still saying their non-Snyderverse stuff, you know, like, oh, we shouldn't have made the Snyderverse. Oh, the Snyderverse sucks. Oh man, we shouldn't have gone back and done Zack Snyder's Justice League. Oh, there's only one Justice League. But then you have people like Zaslav, you know, at the forefront of the WB Discovery merger, who seem to be moving in and working that stuff out and kind of replacing people systematically and moving them out to work more elements in from the past. Otherwise, why would we be seeing things like Ben Affleck sitting there with Jason Momoa excited to be back as Batman? Why would we be seeing things like the reports that allegedly they were going to make Ben Affleck's Batman survive the Flash movie instead of die so that he could be around for more movies, but they were still wanting to do that Keaton nostalgia trip thing, which I'm into. I love Keaton, so I'm into that too. But it's looking more like a one-off. You know, it's weird because you have the Batgirl cancellation, and then on top of that, you have the current executives at WB still kind of using that cancellation as like an anti-Snyderverse thing, and then you have the new guard kind of coming in and pushing more and more elements of what was the Snyderverse. So it's such a weird, bizarre situation at WB where I think that they kind of realize that they've made a lot of missteps, but there's almost no admission of what those missteps really are. There was also all of these reports about a month ago where it really seemed to me, this is my opinion, that it was kind of a WB-backed thing where articles were coming out from Rolling Stone and other places talking about how fake bot accounts were the reason for the Snyder Cut. Technically, Rolling Stone didn't say that, but there was kind of this underlying meaning in a lot of these articles and different things coming out where they were saying there were a lot of bots that were involved in the Restore the Snyderverse stuff. And then, of course, you know, that got picked up, it gets traction, and a lot of the times these stories that the companies don't want to get traction don't, and the ones that they do want to get traction do. Why? Because most of these outlets, when you look at online journalism outlets and stuff like that, Rolling Stone has a little bit more credibility because they've been around for so long, but a lot of these outlets actually need these movie companies. They need them for early access. They need them for reviews. They need them for for-profit articles. They need them for all this stuff. So unless there's something really salacious like Ezra Miller strangling a baby or something like that, that was a joke. I don't think that happened. I hope. We haven't heard about that yet, but let's hope we don't. Unless there's something really salacious like that, a lot of times they will almost run this kind of stuff by these companies in order to avoid jeopardizing that relationship. But with this new guard coming in and everything changing, it's such a bizarre situation where you have the old people saying Snyder's Justice League never should have happened. We shouldn't have gone back. We shouldn't have listened to the fans, given them that thing. And then you have new people coming in, reworking those elements in, and it's just such a weird mess that I'm interested to hear what you think in the comments down below and what direction you think the universe is going to go. I mean, personally, to me, it looks a lot like they're moving back more towards at least incorporating elements of what was going to be the proper Snyderverse into a framework for these movies going forward. That's what it's looking like to me. It kind of seems like they're using Ben Affleck a little bit in the role that they used RDJ in for a while after his movies ended, like his Iron Man movies, where he would kind of pop up and stuff as a through thread, kind of connecting things. It's interesting because you have Ben reportedly in Aquaman, you have him reportedly in The Flash as well, and it's interesting because a couple of years ago we were talking about this and we would have said Ben's never coming back, but now looking at it, it's just such a different world for DC. Now, I'm interested to hear your thoughts down below. I personally am glad the Snyder Cut was made. I know that with anything, there's a lot of jerks and fans that really ruined this movement. And then on the other side, there were a lot of Snyderverse haters who really tried to make Snyder fans look bad and also made this movement look bad. You're going to have that with any movement. You're going to have that with any group. I personally think that shouldn't affect the quality of the movie either way. In my opinion, the fans asked for this over and over and over and over and over, and they got it, and that's a good thing. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts down below and where you think these universes will go going forward, especially following the cancellation of Batgirl and other stuff moving around. So please let me know in the comments down below. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content if you enjoyed this video. Like I said, we're over 112,000 subs. That is thanks to you guys. We appreciate you so much, and we're actually growing again. This is probably one of the first times I've felt excited in the last, week here, when we're actually seeing people show up to the videos and seeing things go well. It feels very rejuvenating and exciting to actually be doing this stuff, because for a while it just kind of felt like yelling into an empty room, and it was very frustrating how YouTube was treating this channel. But fingers crossed on it not going back that way, at least for a while. Please, YouTube, give me a break. Also, my wife Jill has started her own wonderful online store. It is actually enchantedglamour.com. The link is in the description down below. Now, before you tune out because it's glamour, it is not just the beautiful handcrafted, wonderful earrings and bracelets and other jewelry my wife makes, but also personalized pet paintings of your pets that she's going to be offering. And on top of that, something you might really love, which is things like coasters, keychains, and more of repurposed comic books. We're going to be repurposing recycled comic books. These were either getting thrown in the trash or getting recycled. We're going to be giving them new life as transformative pieces of art in something new that we hope you'll check out, because we think they're really cool, and we would rather see that than them end up in a landfill. It's really nice to see some art be reused and reworked transformatively instead of just going in the garbage. So we hope to see you there. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shui.